Hey everybody! Today's video is going to be a quick video on how to do a root touch-up at home. Whether you are trying to cover grays, color blend, or even do a root smudge, I'm going to be going over a few things that I like to do at home. I am a licensed cosmetologist. I work full-time in a salon and I have had my license for 5 years. I know that not everybody can afford to go to a salon, especially for something like a root touch-up, but if you're going to do it at home, I think that you should at least know the key points on how to do it the correct way, especially if you do still go to the salon to get your hair colored every now and again. I do have a demo I'm going to be showing you in a minute, but I want to explain what I did first. If you are just covering grays or just blending your natural hair in with the color that you previously have on your mid shaft and ends, I would only recommend going to the line of demarcation. When I say demarcation line, I mean the line that is between the colored hair and your natural hair that is coming in. You only want to go over that area by maybe a centimeter, if that. You do not want to overlap too much because that is where color buildup happens and you might get a darker line in that area as well. So you want to try your hardest to only go to the line of demarcation. Say that you use a color that's lighter than your natural hair, so you lift a few levels like I do. I like to go over the line of demarcation slightly to sort of get rid of the brassiness that has popped through over the 6 weeks that I let my hair just sort of go without coloring. So in the video that I'm showing you in just a second, you will see how brassy that mid shaft area is. So what I like to do is go in like a root touch-up, go to the line of demarcation horizontally with my brush, and then flip my brush vertically to sort of do half highlights just with the brush, and that will sort of break up the brassiness and that line of demarcation as well. Then I let the color process for 30 minutes, shampoo, rinse, and then let my hair air dry. So I'm going to be showing you that clip right now. The hair color I'm using is by GK Hair. It is the Juvexen Cream color. I mostly mixed 6.1, which is a dark ash blonde, with a little bit of 8.11, which is an intense light ash blonde, and I used an 8 volume for deposit only. And even though 8 volume is deposit only, it will slightly lift my hair, leaving it brassy in about a month or so, and that is why I am mostly doing this. And then you can see here I am just painting on the root like I said earlier, and I'm only going to that line of demarcation and slightly feathering over it because like I said, my hair does tend to pull brassy after about 4 or so weeks, so I'm just trying to cover up some of that brassiness as well. When I color my own hair at home, I also like to do a T-parting just like I would do on clients in the salon. You just want to take a middle part all the way down to the very back and go ahead and color both sides of that. And once you have done that, you want to take the area at the very top of your head and draw a straight line right behind your ear. You want to go ahead and outline each of those 4 quadrants so it is easier to section off for each section. Once I have outlined each section, I like to take small 1/2 inch sections, flip the hair over and get the underside, just like I did to the very top. Once I have that one section done, I will go ahead and apply color on the bottom part of that line as well. Then you want to go ahead and section off in 1/2 inch sections and color the underneath as well. You just want to continue with this process all the way down each section until you get right above the ear. And to avoid getting color on my ears, I just like to take an even smaller section and just color the underside as opposed to also coloring the top. This will just make it a little less messy around the ear area so you can avoid getting color all over. Then you can see here at the very top by my part, I'm just going down in those vertical lines like I was saying earlier, just to create a half low light. I just do this on both sides of my part. If you part differently, I would recommend doing a few different sections of this same technique. Then you can go ahead and let it process for the full time. And here are the results. And then you can see see that my hair is much more blended from my outgrowth to the color that was previously there. I don't have any of my natural hair color left over, but I was wanting to go in and add a little bit of lightness back into it. In the salon, I would do this in one process, not two, but at home it is much easier to do it in two processes. You can really see how the hair is laying a lot better, and doing your hair at home is sometimes a challenge. So doing the highlight in the second step was the best way for me to correctly do my hair, so I could really see where the highlights were going to be at when my hair was dry. So I'm going to be showing you a demo of that as well in just a minute, but what I did was only did 2 foils on each side, and I only grabbed about 3 pieces in each section. When you're doing it, you want to make sure that your sections are not too thick and the weave itself is not too thick. You don't want it to look too stripy or too chunky. You want it to be a natural blend as your hair is growing out, as well as soon as you do it, you want it to be nice and blended. When doing a process like this, I do not like to have my lightener on the runny side. I do like a little bit of a thicker consistency. This gives me more control, as well as making sure that the hair is not being completely saturated. It's more of a balayage effect, but you are doing it in a foil so the heat is more conducted and will work a little bit better. I make sure not to use too much pressure and just sort of go over the top, and I do concentrate the lightener more in that mid-shaft area and then feather it up to the top without going all the way up to the very top where your part is. I just like to do this to break up that line, and I do not leave it on for the full processing time. I only let it go for about 10 to 15 minutes, so I'm going to be showing you that clip right now.
The lightener I'm using is also by GK Hair, and I used a 30 volume developer. If I was processing this for the full time, I would have dropped it down to a 20 volume developer. But because I was only leaving it on for a short amount of time, I wanted it to be a little bit stronger of a formula. Another thing that I forgot to mention was after creating those half lowlights, you do not want to go in and put your highlights in those same areas. You want to go in between those lowlights to create some of that lightness. I like my hair to be multi-dimensional, meaning I do not want it all to be a flat, solid color. That is why I created the half lowlights earlier, and I am now going in and creating more of a half highlight or a balayage highlight effect. If you have previously blonde hair like I do on the very ends, you want to avoid putting lightener on those because you do not want to over-process your hair. I'm just going to go in and create 2 foils on each side. If you want to go ahead and do a few in the back, go for it. Sometimes working with foil in the back of your head is pretty hard, so I would recommend just taking pieces and bringing them forward into the foil. That way you are not working in the back of your head, you are just bringing everything forward into the side so you can see it a little bit easier. And once I was done with the foils, I let those process for about 10 to 15 minutes, checking as I went so I did not go too light. And then I went ahead and toned with 8.11 and an 8 volume just in the mid shaft to kick out any brassiness.
This is the outcome. I only left the toner on for about 10 minutes, maybe 15 tops. You just want to watch it to make sure you are not overtoning your hair as well. I'm really pleased with how it turned out. I'm trying to transition into highlights and lowlights as opposed to all over color on my outgrowth as I color. I'm just trying to incorporate my natural hair color into when I color, and I think that this is the best way to go. I hope this video was helpful for you if you plan to color your outgrowth at home. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, go ahead and leave those down below in the comment section. I will be happy to answer those. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I hope you stick around and subscribe, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye, everybody.